So previously, we identified that all vectors have both an initial and terminal point. During this lesson, we'll learn that vectors with the same magnitude and direction are really considered congruent. They're the same. They can be drawn anywhere that we want them to, by direction or whatever else. As long as they have the same magnitude, the same direction, they're going to be congruent. So let's look at an example. So given a vector v, and you may not have seen this notation before, that's okay. The v with an arrow over it just is a label for the vector. The vector v has an initial point of 2 and 3 and a terminal point of -2 and 4. Let's draw the vector. So we begin first by plotting the initial point, and then we plot the terminal point, and finally we draw the vector going from the initial to the terminal. And then finally, I just go ahead and label it. We can keep them track, or keep track of them. So now let's move to the second part. So we're going to draw another vector w that has the same magnitude and direction, and also begins at the origin. So we know where the first point is. It's at the origin. So now we'll go ahead and use let's go ahead and use the information we know from the vector we did before. So we first have to look at what the difference is here. So it looks like we have a change on vector v going from this point here to this point. So we're going left, it looks like 4, and then we're going up 1. So we're going left, 4, and up 1. So we want to do the same thing here. Starting at the origin, we'll go left 4, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, ending here, and up 1, ending about there. So now we can go ahead and plot our next point, and it's right there. So I'll go ahead and clear my writing so we can see what we've got. Okay. Now that we've plotted the terminal point for vector w, let's go ahead and continue on and go ahead and draw the vector and label it so we know which one is which. Now there's going to be a third part. We kind of did this already, but let's go ahead and put it into words. So the third part is describing the direction of both vectors. So as we look at this part, we can go either vector, and you may recall that we did the change was 4 left, and we did 1 up. Okay, and finally, I want to just kind of demonstrate that they really are the same vector, and I'm going to do that by just showing you by dragging the vector w over top of vector v, noticing and proving by translation that they are exactly the same. So if I drag it right here, they should be exactly, let's move this a little bit so we can see it. Oh, that's not working. Anyway, we'll go ahead and just clear the drawing, and we can see that these vectors are exactly the same. All right, so I don't think you'll be asked to prove by translation, but you will be asked for the first 3 parts. So let's look at an example that you'll find in the homework. So here we go. Let's just go ahead and work through it. So the initial point on this one here is 5, -2. So I'm going to start here at the initial count, or count forward 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here's my initial point. Now I need, oops, nope, and I have to go down 2. There we go. There's my initial point. All right. There's my initial. Now let's go to terminal. So now we go 3, 1, 2, 3, and down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we draw the arrow going from the initial to the terminal. You will have an online tool for the homework. Just remember how to use that. It should work just fine. Now the next part is we're going to draw a second vector with the following information. So we've got starting at the origin, so the initial point is at 0. Then the terminal point, well, we have to kind of know the direction that the first one went. So let's start at the initial, and it looks like I'm going left 2. So this is left 2 or 2 left. I think on the homework you'll probably have a place to choose. And then we go down 2. So this is 2 down. So we want to repeat that with the other vector. So we're going to go left 2, kind of puts us here sort of, and then we go from here down 2 to find our terminal point. And the terminal point is -2, -2. We'll go like this. One thing that you might notice, there's a relationship between this thing here going from initial to the terminal and this thing here. And that will lead us into what we'll do for the next lesson in 9.3. Okay, there we go. That is it.